The incredible life story of Zulkarnayn alayhi salam and Yajuj and Majuj, the great ruler mentioned in the Qur'an who ruled the world with jinn and humans under his command. A faithful man to whom light and darkness were given by divine command. A hidden figure granted special powers by Allah, protecting all of humanity from Yajuj and Majuj. The master of the East and the West, who commands the clouds, light and darkness with a single order, possessing hidden knowledge. A man who learned from Khidr alayhi salam, Zulkarnayn alayhi salam. Before we begin, we have a message for you. You can help spread the message of Islam from the comfort of your home. By liking this video and subscribing to the channel, you can help our videos reach more people. In this way, you will be doing good for thousands of people in places you may never visit and become part of our circle of blessings. There is no God except Allah. Danger is coming for the Arabs because of the approaching evil. Today, this much of the barrier of Yajuj and Majuj has been opened. He then made a circle by joining his thumb and index finger. Upon this, I asked, O Messenger of Allah, will we be destroyed even if there are believers people among us? The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam replied, yes, when evil and sins increase. Hadith, narrated by Zainab bint Jahsh. The life of Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam. Until today, only 4 individuals have ruled over the entire world. 2 of them were believers and 2 were disbelievers. The believers were Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam and Sulaiman alayhi salam, while the disbelievers were Nimrod and Bukhtu Nasir. A 5th ruler who will spread his authority across the world will emerge from this nation, Mehdi alayhi salam. Allah will make Islam superior over all other religions. When Ali radiallahu anha was asked how Zulkarnayn alayhi salam reached the East and the West, he replied, the clouds were made subservient to him, everything he needed was placed under his command, and the lights were opened for him, making night and day equal for him. The real name of Zulkarnayn alayhi salam is unknown, as Zulkarnayn is a title. This name means the one with 2 ears, or the possessor of 2 horns. Allah granted him control over light and darkness, and granted him both external and hidden knowledge. Because of this, he was known as Dhul Qarnayn. He had 2 protrusions on his head looking like horns, and his crown bore 2 horns made of copper. He used to tie his hair into 2 braids. One night, he saw a dream in which he climbed to the sky and held onto both sides of the sun. He came from a great family from both his mother's and father's side and lived approximately 5,000 years ago. He was one of the kings of Yemen. Khidr alayhi salam was the cousin of Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam. Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam appointed Khidr alayhi salam as a commander in his army, and together they fought against the disbelievers. At the same time, Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam took lessons from Khidr alayhi salam. Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam was from the nation of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He ruled over the world, believed in Ibrahim alayhi salam, and performed tawaf around the Kaaba with Ismail alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam. The abilities of Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam, all means, were placed under his command. Jinn, clouds and other beings were also subjected to Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam. Allah granted him great strength, and he undertook expeditions to the east and the west. he built the barrier of Zulkarnayn to protect against the tribes of Yajuj and Majuj. This barrier was made of iron mixed with copper. Allah bestowed upon him knowledge and power, making him a ruler with unmatched authority and control. Additionally, he was granted 2 banners, one white and one black. When he placed the black banner behind him during the day, darkness would cover his back, causing his enemies to lose their way and be unable to find him. At night, he carried the white banner in front of him, creating daylight-like brightness for his soldiers, allowing him to achieve great victories against his enemies. Zulkarnayn alayhi salam was a just and merciful ruler. In the lands he conquered, he treated the people with kindness, saying, "There is no need for the innocent among you to fear. Those who do good will be rewarded for their deeds." Through his fairness and compassion, he won the hearts of his people. He loved everything that benefited humanity. Once, as he entered Makkah, he dismounted from his horse. When he reached the Kaaba, those around him told him that the weather was hot and he would tire himself out. In response, Zulkarnayn alayhi salam said, "How can I ride an animal in the place where Allah's beloved Ibrahim alayhi salam once walked?" Despite being the sole ruler of the world, he showed humility and honored the Kaaba. Thus, he became a manifestation of the saying, "Whoever humbles himself for Allah, Allah will elevate him." With the blessings and supplications of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah opened the doors of the entire world to him. Whether Zulkarnayn alayhi salam was a prophet remains uncertain, and Allah knows best. He was a great leader, granted power, strength, knowledge, and wisdom by Allah. With both material and spiritual resources, he was capable of achieving whatever he desired. However, he used all his power in the path of Allah, leading conquests and striving for the cause of truth. According to the narration of Ja'far al-Sadiq radiallahu anhu from his father, Dhul Qarnayn alayhi salam had a companion from the angels. One day, he asked the angel to show him a way to extend his life. The angel guided him to the location of the water of life, Abi Hayat, which grants immortality. However, this source was in a dark region. Zulkarnayn alayhi salam set out with Khidr alayhi salam to find it. In the end, Khidr alayhi salam was the one who succeeded in finding the water, but Zulkarnayn alayhi salam could not find it. As a result, Khidr alayhi salam attained immortality until the Day of Judgment and was granted the ability to appear in any place at any time. On one of his journeys, while passing through a dark valley, Zulkarnayn alayhi salam commanded his soldiers, "Pick up whatever your feet stumble upon." Hearing this order, the soldiers reacted in 3 different ways. The first group, some of them thought, "We are already exhausted. Why should we burden ourselves by picking up things in the dark?" So they ignored the command and took nothing. The second group, others reasoned, "Since our commander has ordered it, we should at least take a little. One must obey the leader of the army," so they collected a small amount. The third group, some soldiers thought, "Our commander would not give an order without a reason. There must be wisdom behind it," and they gathered as much as they could carry. When morning came, they discovered that the valley was actually a gold mine, and the objects they had picked up were pieces of gold. Those who took nothing were filled with deep regret and said, "Why didn't we take anything? Why didn't we listen to our commander? If only we had taken even one piece." Those who took a little regretted not taking more and said, "If only we had filled our pockets and bags." Even those who took a lot felt they could have taken even more, saying, "If only we had left behind unnecessary items and carried more gold." Just like in this example, people will experience different regrets in the hereafter. The disbelievers will say, if only we had believed, if only we had faith, then after entering hell, our faith could have led us to paradise. The sinful believers will say, if only we had done more good deeds so that we could receive greater rewards. Even the devoted worshippers will say, if only I had prayed one more prayer, given more charity, and fasted a little more to increase my rank in paradise. Thus, this world is the valley of trials, and what we gather here will determine our rewards in the next life. According to the narration of Hudhayfa bin al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "The hour will not come until these 10 signs appear. Smoke, the Dajjal, the beast of the earth, Dabetul Ard, the sun rising from the west, the descent of Isa to the earth, the emergence of Yajuj and Majuj, 3 major land collapses, one in the east, one in the west, and one in the Arabian Peninsula, and a great fire that will drive people to the gathering place." Yajuj and Majuj are 2 groups of unknown origin and lineage that will appear before the Day of Judgment. While the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam was narrating the lessons from past nations that lived in Makkah, the Jews and the Persians started telling the stories of past nations in their own way. Among the Jews in Medina, there were those who believed that the final prophet would emerge from among them. They told the Makkans, "A prophet has appeared in Makkah. If he is truly a prophet, ask him about the people of the cave, Ashab Al-Kahf, Dhul Qarnayn, and the nature of the soul, Ruh. If he can provide a complete answer about Ashab Al-Kahf and Dhul Qarnayn and a partial answer about the soul, then he is truly a prophet, and you should follow him. But if he cannot answer these 3 questions, then he is a liar." Following this suggestion, the Makkans came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam and asked, "Who are the people of the cave? Who was Dhul Qarnayn, the one who traveled to the east and the west? What is the nature of the soul?" In response to these questions, Surah Al-Kahf was revealed, and in this surah, Dhul Qarnayn was mentioned with the following words. "O Prophet, they ask you about Dhul Qarnayn. Say to them, I will tell you something about him. Truly, we granted Dhul Qarnayn power and authority on earth and provided him with the means to achieve whatever he needed. With the knowledge and resources he possessed, Dhul Qarnayn set out on a journey. Eventually, he reached the place where the sun sets. There he saw the sun setting into a muddy spring. He found a people living there, and we said, 'O Dhul Qarnayn, you may choose to punish them or treat them kindly.' Dhul Qarnayn said to them, 'Whoever persists in their disbelief, we will punish them, and when their time comes, they will be presented before their Lord, who will punish them even more severely. But those who believe and do righteous deeds will receive a great reward, and we will grant them ease in all their affairs.' After some time, Dhul Qarnayn set out on another journey. Eventually he reached the place where the sun rises. He found it rising upon a people for whom we had not provided any shelter from it. Yes, Dhul Qarnayn was truly a man of vast resources and great power. Indeed, we knew everything he possessed and all that he did in full detail. At another time, Dhul Qarnayn embarked on yet another journey. He reached a region between 2 mountains, and beyond it, he found a people who could hardly understand speech, nor would they heed reason or justice. The people on this side of the mountain said, "O Dhul Qarnayn, Yajuj and Majuj are spreading corruption in the land. If we offer you tribute, will you build a barrier between us and them?" Dhul Qarnayn replied, "The power, wealth, and resources that my Lord has granted me are far greater than anything you can offer. Instead, help me with your manpower, and I will build a strong barrier between you and them." Then Dhul Qarnayn commanded, "Bring me blocks of iron." When the space between the 2 mountains was filled with iron, he said, "Blow with your bellows until the iron becomes red hot." When the iron had melted into a glowing mass, he said, "Bring me molten copper so that I may pour it over the barrier." From then on, Yajuj and Majuj could neither scale the barrier nor dig through it. When Zulkarnain completed the structure, he declared, "This is a mercy from my Lord. But when my Lord's promise comes to pass, he will cause this barrier to collapse, for my Lord's promise is always true." The final land conquered by Zulkarnain alayhi salam was Yajuj and Majuj, an isolated tribe in the Far East that lived a primitive life, far from civilization, without clothing, shelter, or structured society. Yajuj and Majuj are descendants of Japheth, the son of Nuh alayhi salam. The Qur'an does not provide direct information about who they are, where they lived, or when they existed, but numerous details are found in hadiths. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "Every day Yajuj and Majuj dig through the barrier. When they are about to see the sunlight through the opening, their leader tells them, 'Leave it for today, and we will continue tomorrow.' But Allah restores the barrier to its original state overnight, making it as strong as before. When the time decreed for them to emerge arrives, and Allah wills to send them upon mankind, they will dig once again. This time, when they are about to see the sunlight, their leader will say, 'Leave it for today, and if Allah wills, we will continue tomorrow.' They will include, 'if Allah wills,' inshallah, in their words. The next day, when they return to the barrier, they will find it in the same state as they left it. Then they will continue digging, break through the barrier, and spread across the world, attacking people from all directions. When the time comes and they begin to descend from every hill, the final hour will be near. At that moment, the disbelievers will be struck with terror, and their eyes will freeze in shock. They will exclaim, 'Woe to us! We were completely heedless of this. In fact, we were the ones who wronged ourselves.'" The era of corruption and the arrival of the Dajjal. A time will come when people will no longer enjoin good or forbid evil. No one will tell those who abandon prayer to pray. No one will stop those who drink alcohol. No one will remind those who abandon fasting to observe it. No one will warn those who commit adultery that it is forbidden. Human life will be devalued and people will be killed with ease. The rulings of Allah's religion will be abandoned and humanity will be completely corrupted. At this point, Allah will send the Dajjal to take revenge on his enemies. The Muslims will seek refuge in Masjid al-Aqsa, and then Allah will destroy the Dajjal. Isa alayhi salam will descend, and Islam will dominate the entire world. For 40 years, there will be prosperity, abundance, no disease, and no death. People will live a life like paradise. Then Allah will cause the barrier of Yajuj and Majuj to collapse, and they will spread across the earth like a flood. A group of believers will hear of Isa alayhi salam's descent and will come to him. Allah will protect them from the Dajjal. Isa alayhi salam will look at them and say, "This nation holds great potential." He will then wipe their faces, express his love for them, pray for blessings upon them, and inform them of their ranks in paradise. Hudayfa radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "Yajuj is one nation and Majuj is another nation. Each nation consists of 400,000 nations. One of them does not die until he sees 1,000 men from his own lineage, all armed." I asked, "O Messenger of Allah, can you describe them to us?" He replied, "They are of 3 types. One type is like the arz tree." They asked, "What is the arz?" The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "It is a tree in Sham, Greater Syria, that grows 120 cubits high and rises toward the sky." Then the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam added, "No mountain or iron can withstand them. The second type spreads one of their ears as a mattress and covers themselves with the other like a blanket. They eat whatever they find, including elephants, wild animals, camels, and pigs. When one of them dies, they eat their own dead. One part of them will be in Sham, while the other will be in Khorasan. They will drink from all the eastern rivers and completely consume Lake Tiberias. Ibn Harmele radiallahu anhu narrated, "The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam once delivered a sermon while his finger was bandaged due to a scorpion's sting. During his sermon he said, 'You say that you have no enemies. However, you will continue fighting enemies until the time when Yajuj and Majuj appear, those with broad faces, small eyes, reddish-brown hair, and faces covered in layers of thick skin like shields. They will descend from every valley and flood the earth.'" Mas'ud radiallahu anhu narrated, "On the night of the Isra and Miraj, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam met Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa. They discussed the day of judgment and when it would occur. Beginning with Ibrahim alayhi salam, they asked him about its time, but he said that he had no knowledge of it. Then they asked Musa alayhi salam, and he gave the same answer. Finally, Isa alayhi salam spoke and said, "I have been given knowledge about the events that will take place near the day of judgment, but only Allah knows the exact time when it will happen." He then described the emergence of the Dajjal and said, "Then I will descend and kill him. After that, the people will return to their lands." Nawas bin Sam'an al-Kilabi, radiallahu anhu, narrated that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "Then Allah will reveal to Isa alayhi salam, saying, 'Take my servants to Mount Tur, for I will release some of my servants, against whom no one will be able to fight. These will be the people of Yajuj and Majuj. They will descend from every hill like a flood, spreading across the earth. The first wave of Yajuj and Majuj will reach Lake Tiberias and drink all of its water until it is empty. When the second wave arrives, they will say, 'There used to be water here.' They will continue marching until they reach Beit al-Maqdis, Masjid al-Aqsa, and will boast, 'We have fought and destroyed those on earth. Now let us fight those in the heavens.' They will shoot their arrows into the sky, and Allah will return their arrows covered in blood, deceiving them into thinking they have defeated the inhabitants of the heavens." Meanwhile, Isa alayhi salam and his followers will be besieged. At that time, a cow's head will be more valuable than 100 gold dinars. Then Isa alayhi salam and his followers will pray to Allah, and Allah will send worms that will afflict the necks of Yajuj and Majuj, causing them to die all at once, like the death of a single person. The entire world will fall into complete silence. At that moment, the believers will say, "Who among us is willing to sacrifice himself and check what happened to our enemies? Who will risk martyrdom and bring us news?" A righteous believer will step forward, knowing that he will likely be killed. When he reaches their location, he will find that the entire world is covered with the corpses of Yajuj and Majuj, stacked on top of one another. He will then call out, "O Muslims, rejoice, for Allah has defeated your enemy." Following this, Isa alayhi salam and his followers will emerge from their shelters, as will the rest of humanity. They will also release their animals. However, Yajuj and Majuj will have consumed everything on earth, leaving nothing behind. The animals will begin feeding on the corpses of Yajuj and Majuj, growing fatter than ever before. Even insects will feast on their flesh and blood. Then Isa alayhi salam will descend from Mount Tur and prepare for worship, but he and his followers will realize that there is not a single clean space left on earth due to the overwhelming number of corpses. They will pray to Allah once more, and Allah will send a strong wind. This wind will cause all believers to develop a mild illness like the common cold, and within 3 days their souls will be taken. Afterward, Allah will send birds with long necks, like camels, to carry the corpses away and dispose of them in a deep pit, cleansing the earth. Then Allah will send heavy rain, which will fall on every house and tent, leaving the world completely pure and lush once again. Allah will then command the earth, produce your fruits and restore your blessings as in the past. That day, a single pomegranate will be enough to feed an entire group, and its peel will be large enough to provide shade for them. The Muslims will collect the bows, arrows, and quivers left behind by Yajuj and Majuj and will use them as fuel for 7 years. Blessings will increase, and a single young camel will be enough for an entire group. A single young cow will be enough for a tribe. A single sheep will be enough for a clan. While people are living in this blessed state, Allah will send another wind. This wind will take the souls of all remaining believers. The remaining disbelievers will live without any moral restraint, openly committing sins like animals. Then the hour will come upon them, and the day of judgment will begin. One day, the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wassalam, recited the first 2 verses of Surah Al-Hajj to his companions and said, "O people, fear your Lord. The earthquake of the hour is truly a great calamity. On that day, every nursing mother will forget her child, and every pregnant woman will miscarry. You will see people as if they are drunk, though they are not drunk. But the punishment of Allah and the terror of the hour are severe indeed." Upon hearing these verses, the companions were so affected by the severity of the day of judgment that they lost sleep, stopped eating and drinking. The next day, the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam asked them, "Do you know which day is being referred to in this verse?" The companions replied, "Allah and His Messenger know best." Then the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said, "That day is the day when Allah will address Adam alayhi salam." Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam said, "On the day of judgment, Allah, the Almighty and Majestic, will call out, 'O Adam!' Adam alayhi salam will reply, 'At your service, my Lord. All goodness is in your hands.' Allah will then command, 'Bring forth the people destined for hell.' Adam alayhi salam will ask, 'O my Lord, how many are the people of hell?' Allah will reply, 'From every 1,999 will be cast into hell.' This is the moment described in the verse, when pregnant women will miscarry and people will be in a state of terror, appearing as if drunk. This news was so overwhelming for the companions that their faces turned pale. Seeing their distress, the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam continued, "From Yajuj and Majuj, 999 out of every 1,000 will enter hell, but from you, only 1 out of 1,000 will be among them. Know that you are like a single white hair on a black ox or a single black hair on a white ox among mankind." Then he added, "This house, Kaaba, will continue to be visited for Hajj and Umrah, even after the time of Yajuj and Majuj." The Prophet's invitation to Yajuj and Majuj during the night journey, Miraj. The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam reached the place where Yajuj and Majuj were and invited them to Islam. However, only a few of them accepted faith, while the majority rejected it. Even though the barrier of Zulkarnayn still exists, they cannot see it, for when Allah wishes to conceal something, no one can find its location. Jamil's inability to see the Prophet. When Surah Al-Masad, Tebet, was revealed, condemning Abu Lahab, his wife Jamil became extremely angry. Furious, she picked up a large stone and headed towards Al-Masjid Al-Haram, intending to attack the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. At that time, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was sitting there with Abu Bakr and Umar. Seeing Jamil approaching, Abu Bakr turned to the Messenger of Allah and said, "O Messenger of Allah, this foul-mouthed woman is coming, if only we left this place." However, the Prophet ﷺ calmly replied, "She cannot see me." When Jamil reached them, she failed to notice the Prophet and instead turned to Abu Bakr as she disliked Umar. She asked, "Where is your companion?" Abu Bakr asked, "What do you want from him?" She replied angrily, "If I find him, I will strike his mouth with this stone. If he is a poet, then so am I, and I know how to satirize just like him." Then Abu Bakr asked, "Can you see the man sitting next to me?" Jamil, puzzled, replied, "Are you mocking me? I only see Umar beside you. There is no one else here." She then left without realizing that the Prophet ﷺ was right there. After she left, Abu Bakr, still astonished, asked, "O Messenger of Allah, did she really not see you?" The Prophet ﷺ replied, "No, she could not see me. Allah veiled her eyes, and the angels concealed me from her." Then he recited the following verse from Surah Al-Kahf, "And we have placed a barrier before them, and a barrier behind them, and we have covered their vision, so they cannot see. Whether you warn them or not, it is the same for them. They will never believe." Al-Kahf, 1857. Just as Allah hides the jinn and angels from human sight, it is not surprising that He has also concealed the barrier of Zulkarnayn and the people of Yajuj and Majuj from our eyes. Allah can do whatever He wills. Zulkarnayn alayhi salam was martyred when the disbelievers struck both sides of his head as he was calling people to Tawheed, monotheism. He was buried near the Tihama mountains, close to Makkah. Even planets gather together, yet you think you are alone in this vast universe. This channel is for you. But to reach more hearts like yours, we need your support. Every subscriber helps bring comfort to another wounded soul. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment.